Hello and welcome to InkGenius Creative Writing class. In this video, I'm going to be discussing endings. So, if you're more mature writer, then you probably know that writing the end in capital letters is not the way to end a story, and that ending should be like a punch in the face. They should really make a statement. So you've probably seen like loads of different endings, like cliffhangers, tragedy, and then some that have satisfactory endings. And different endings require you to meet a different level of criteria, to write about different things, to make sure that you've done different things to get the criteria. So I'm going to give you some helpful ending tips in this book to make your endings bold and to really finish the base of writing maybe a short story or a novel, writing anything, to finish that race to go out with a bang, basically. So first up is cliffhangers. Cliffhangers, they're controversial, I guess. Some people like them, some people don't like them. Some people don't like that feeling of being left on the edge. Whilst others are like, oh, this gives them an adrenaline rush. And that means you can just not finish the story, right? Wrong. Definitely not. You have to finish the story. Cliffhangers do not mean you should leave the total story. You should leave the story on the edge. You shouldn't know what's going to happen at the end. It doesn't give you an excuse to not know the ending. You know the ending and you're hinting towards the ending, but the cliffhanger is not giving the ending. Whereas giving a bolder statement, maybe suggesting a twist, maybe having a sudden twist and ending there, or maybe just ending before the resolution. That's what a cliffhanger is. It's not giving you an excuse to not know what to do. So therefore, if you're going to write a cliffhanger, you need to have covered at least some of the holes in your story plot, so that your reader knows at least something. And of course, if there's maybe part 2 or a next part coming, then you can leave just a few essential holes, like to hint that something else will come next. But just bear in mind that the reader might not see part 2, or you might not write part 2. So you have to still cover up most of the plot and leave it a place where the reader can be happy knowing they read part 1. They don't have to continue, but they still have an urge to, I guess. So next is sad endings. Sad endings, most people often think someone dies at the end, or there's a really bad tragedy that would make you cry or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And if there is death at the end, you have to make sure it makes sense, like the readers saw it coming. Or maybe even if they didn't see it coming, there still has to be an explanation behind that. It can't be slapped onto the end. There still has to be, through your plot development, there should have been hints, even if they were so subtle that the reader couldn't catch them. They should have been there so that if the reader goes back through it, they might suddenly realize, oh, this person was going to die because of this, and that. So yeah, as I was saying, they don't have to be necessarily sad. It can sometimes be disguised as something good. So maybe your main character got what he wanted, he achieved his goal, he achieved what he set out to do. But maybe it came at a pricey cost, like it could be losing a loved one, or even just losing something else that he really wanted. Maybe if he wanted money, he wanted to be rich, but he wanted love too. So maybe he found love, but he lost all his money in the process. Maybe vice versa. So it has to, if for sad endings don't have to be outrightly sad, outrageously sad. They just have to be, even if just slightly sad, just to make your reader feel sympathy for the main character. But for sad endings, just make sure they fit the story. So you can't be writing about young love and romance and everything is happy, skies are blue, the sun is always shining, and then suddenly a bomb kills the whole human race. because that doesn't really fit the mood of the story, doesn't reflect what you were writing, and it's poor plot development, and your readers will definitely not only be confused, but they'll be dissatisfied and very annoyed with the way that it ends. If it ends just suddenly sad, even though there was no hint to that throughout the story. Happy endings are, we know them as mostly the hero saves the day, or the person went on a long journey and they found that thing that they were finally looking for. But sometimes happy endings can be a realization within the self that they might not get everything that they want, but that's okay. That can be a happy ending as long as it's worded properly. A happy ending could be even something that most would regard so sad and so terribly upsetting, but in the context it makes sense that it would be happy. Maybe the main character getting killed, or the two main characters falling out of love, or deciding not to be friends anymore. Maybe that could be truly sad in a sense, but in the correct context, it could make sense that it'd be a wise decision, and it would make the readers feel free. Maybe it's been a thing that's burdening them, so they finally feel free of that, and that's a happy ending. And just as sad endings, they have to still make sense. You can't just throw it on because you want to. Still has to reflect the whole mood of your story, and your plot development, of course, has to say kind of what it's doing, even if the reader doesn't see it. So, as much as your ending should make a statement, it shouldn't be rushed or random. So, it should be planned beforehand, in when you're planning the rest of your plot and your plot development, which was in my last video. So, for build up tension before you end. So maybe if you want to use choppy sentences, or maybe if you want to use flurry sentences, but as long as there's tension, whether you're doing a sad ending, happy ending, cliffhanger, realization and epiphany, whether you're doing any of those, still build up the tension to that, so the reader feels on edge, like, oh my gosh, it's the last 5 pages, what could possibly happen? Even if nothing does happen, you still have to give the reader that rush that makes them want to still keep on going for the last 5 pages. So we've come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you now know a bit more about endings and how they can really affect your story and change how your story looks, and they can just add that sense of satisfaction that they really mean something to the reader. I hope you know that now after watching this video. So thank you for watching. Bye.